so that you can see a little bit of difference of development environments if you're not familiar with them.
Yep.
If you're still feeling like you need a little bit more reinforcement about building the user interface, about the basics of HTML, we've got a great resource for you up here on our slide, which you can go to. This will give you actually a walkthrough of some exercises that you can do to really reinforce all the things that we have discussed here. So some really good resources out there.
You got to get in, you got to do it. It's the only way that it ever sticks.
That's right.
Yep.
Demos, demos, demos.
Yep.
In summary, HTML.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started out with basics of what your first HTML application might look like.
Yep.
Did it in Notepad, then we moved on to Web Matrix.
Yep.
We looked at specifics for displaying text, SVG and Canvas, right?
Yep.
For our graphics.
Yep.
Media.
Yes, how to play those video files, how to play those audio files.
Easy.
Yeah, and then finish it all out with a whole bunch of resources. So one of the things that you probably noticed as we were going through this is, like Rachel mentioned, it'd be nice to maybe move that footer down a little bit and kind of play around. Well, that's going to be by going in and styling the page.
Right.
And
CSS.
That's and that's going to be our next module.
Yep.
So what do you say we take a little break, and then we'll come on back and take a look at how we can stylize our pages.
Sounds great. See you there.
All right. All right, well, welcome back to preparing for MTA Exam 98375 HTML Application Development. Alongside Rachel Jones, I am Christopher Harrison. And when we left off, we had taken a look at HTML, which again is how we're going to put together our data. Right. Now what we want to do is take a look at how we're going to position and colorize and do all of those cool things with our pages. Or in other words, take a look at style.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about style. Rachel. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we just got to make it pretty.
There we go. Done
pretty.
and done. Okay. Well, thank you for joining for this module.
Yeah.
And all right, there's probably a little bit more to say.
A little bit more than that, yeah. But we need to tidy it up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to take off where we left off in Module 2.
Yep.
We built the UI.
Yep.
And now we need to format a little bit.
Yeah.
And to do that, we are going to use CSS.
Perfect.
Yeah. Cascading style sheets.
Cascading style sheets.
Yeah. We're going to start from the very beginning, just like we did with the HTML portion. We're going to break it down so that you understand the syntax, how to set up the basic structure of your styling. And then we're going to go on and look into where you're going to write it. There's a couple of different places you can put it. You can put it right in line into your HTML page.
Yep.
You can take it a step further in your HTML page, but take it out a little bit and embed it up into the top where it's all together. And then we'll look at how to externally move all of that styling into a separate file. We'll talk about some benefits as we move along.
Yeah. Yep.
And while we're going through that, we'll actually talk about why it's called cascading style sheets, right?
Perfect.
We'll talk about the cascading principle and the inheritance principle. And we'll finish off with doing some little demos on how you can add some very quick little graphical effects just using CSS, not even having to write any JavaScript code.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I love it.
Really cool. So let's jump right in. Talk a little bit about the CSS syntax. When you're writing CSS, it's basically broken down into 3 sections. You've got your selection, you've got your property, and you've got your value.
Okay. So the I was going to say, so the selection is the items that you're looking for, the items that you're wanting to play with?
Yeah, the objects. Yeah.
All right.
The objects.
Yep.
Properties, you can kind of think of those as maybe the characteristics. That might be a good way.
Yep.
And then the values, of course, are the things that you're going to change, the way you're going to change it. Might help if we actually looked at an example.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that. Let's look at an example. By the way, you're going to stick in a couple of little curly brackets and semicolon or 2 there to finish off your syntax. And then here's our little example. And let's actually compare.
Okay.
I think that would actually help. In this case, H1 is going to be our selection. That's our object, as you mentioned, Christopher.
Yep.
Then our property is going to be the color.
Okay.
That's the characteristic that you're going to change. And you're going to change that to the value of red.
Okay. So it looks to me like that H1 would sort of be like a noun, that's the item or the objective. That's what I'm looking to modify.
Love the analogy, yes.
And then that property sounds like the adjective. That'd be something about it. So it'd be like crayon and then color to kind of keep building on that analogy. And then the value that I'm looking for there is red. But in this case, it looks like we're going to be taking all of the H1 tags, and then we're going to be taking that color and making that red.
That's right. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, if I had more than one H1 tag, they would all be changed, correct?
Excellent. Yeah, okay. I see it. Yeah.
I also want to point out while we're here, if you are reading information about CSS and the syntax of CSS, you might hear these two things referred to as the declaration.
Okay.
Selection and declaration.
Okay.
All right.
I like it.
Let's move forward. You might see the syntax looking something like this, just a little bit more complicated.
Yep.
Not that much, though. We're going to be doing several things to the H1 element.
Okay.
We're just going to wrap it all together up between the open and close bracket.
Okay. So kind of, again, go back to a marker. So a couple of different properties. So I'd have like, maybe color would be red. Type would be, say, dry erase, and then maybe scent would be strawberry. You remember the scented markers as a kid?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, so maybe you've got some of those. So again, kind of that, just like an object in real life could have multiple properties, and you could set those values. It looks like that's the exact same thing here, that we could go to that H1 tag, and we could set multiple properties on that.
Yeah, at the same time, right? Just group it all together.
And then just separate them out with semicolons. I love it. Okay.
Let's jump right in.
Yeah,
I love demos.
Let's look at it. Let's actually see it.
Right.
Yep.
Let's do a couple of things. We're going to look at it first, how we would do it right in line onto our page.
Okay.
We'll take it a step further, bunch it all together.
Okay.
We put it at the top in our head section of our HTML page.
Okay.
Then we're going to totally separate our concerns and put it in a separate file.
Okay.
But we're going to build, starting first with simple and then moving forward.
I like it.
Let's just continue working with the demonstration that we have been using, our little travel blog, and see if we can clean this up a little bit.
Give it a little bit more style, a little more punch.
In case somebody's just joining us, I'm going to go ahead and run it so that they can see what we have up to this point, and if they want to follow along and create something similar so that they can practice.
Yeah, I always love the before and after when it comes to demos.
Right.
Okay.
And again, I'm not promising very pretty. It's just going to be neat. Right?
Okay.
In the 15, 20 minutes of this video, we can't do a whole lot, but we're going to certainly get started. First, inline styling.
Okay.
Let's say that we want to do something to this header.
To that specific one.
Yeah, so I'm going to position myself right inside of my HTML right there, and I'm going to specify that I want to do some styling. So I'm going to specify that attribute here.
Seems pretty straightforward. Just style. Yep. Okay.
Just style, and then what I want to style. Let's set the color. How about that?
Okay.
And hey, this is kind of a neat feature.
I like that.
Matrix got a little graphical interface. I'm going to use my arrow, my down arrow key to press that, and then my left and right to move forward. And you notice as I'm moving forward, it's writing the hexadecimal value for me, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a couple of ways that I can actually specify that. In this instance, I'm specifying it as a hexadecimal. I could, in fact, actually just type in the word red. That would do it as well.
Yeah, there are a set of names that you could use there. Okay.
But let's just see how it looks. Simple little line. This is inline styling.
Okay, and I'm noticing that there isn't a selector there because you've put the style right on the H1. So you're basically, you've gone to the tag and said, I want you to be red.
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
Perfect.
Right inside of this tag.
Yep.
And I'm going to go here.
Very
and
forceful
voila.
there.
You. Yes.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes, H1, and there we go. We've got a little bit of styling.
All right.
Let's take it a step further.
Let's do it.
We want to do several things to that header as well as some other things, maybe to the paragraph. And it does get a little cumbersome if we write all of our CSS right in line. It's hard to differentiate between our HTML and our CSS.
Yeah.
Very good practice then to separate that out. Now, for exam preparation, if you see something like we just did, that's absolutely correct. You can do it that way. But in terms of real world, developing some real world good tips, right? Good development tips, you'll want to try to separate out that concern as much as possible. Yeah,
I could see that tag just getting longer and longer and longer as you keep trying to specify, well, I want this property and this property and this property.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to move up to my head section here, and I'm going to just start off with the style.
Okay.
tag.
Using the down arrow I see there.
Oh, yeah, isn't that
Yep.
nice? Again, where I love using tools like Web Matrix. And I'm going to start styling, just like I did earlier.
Okay.
Back to my header one. I'm going to start with my open bracket.
And that was kind of cool. When you typed in H1, it actually highlighted that H1 tag, so kind of a neat little way to see this is what we're changing. Okay.
Right. All right, let's go ahead and let's do blue this time.
Okay, I like blue.
Fancy.
Sure.
And let's do something else. So we can do several things here. Let's go ahead and align our text to the center of our page.
Okay.
Oh, got away from me there. Let's try that again.
There we go.
And center. All right.
Perfect. I like it.
All right. Let's do a little bit more. We've done some stuff to the heading. You know, let's do this. Let's not only style H1, let's style the subheading, the H2.
Okay, let's do
Rather
it.
than having to retype all of that, what I'm going to do is just position myself right here.
So you just put a comma there, and that way you can actually identify multiple tags.
Right.
Okay.
So everything in this area will be
Okay.
these. Let's go ahead and style the paragraph too while
Okay.
we're at it here. And let's do some text alignment there as well. We'll line this to the left just to show a little bit of.
Yep. Just indicate, hey, we want that over on the left side. I
Yep.
like it. Yep.
Let's bring this out a little bit, say 12 pixels.
So a margin giving a little bit of white space there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just see how it looks. We're going to just go on the fly here. Now I'm going to specify a font family, and let's just do the traditional sans serif there. You know, I'm going to specify something else. A couple of words. Let me type it in, and then we'll talk about what we're doing.
And so you can actually specify multiple types there. Okay.
Yeah. So remember that your application is going to be rendered in a browser, and you are really not in control of that environment.
Right.
So what we're doing here is setting things up. So if that browser, if sans serif is not available on the browser that's running your application, then we're going to go to Arial. And if Arial's not available, then we'll go to Myriad Pro.
Okay. All right. I like it.
What we're doing. Let's run it and see what happens. And
that's interesting. So I'm
know what
noticing the blue there. I'm also noticing, you know, there is that little bit of space down below. I'm noticing it's in the center, but that California road trip, that's in red.
I was not ready to talk about that, Christopher, but you know what?
It's
this
there.
is perfect.
See, we're really cooking on this show.
Nothing
so
like
what
doing
happened there?
Well, I think I know what.
Yep, I know exactly.
You know too, right?
Yeah.
So let's since it's happened,
talk cascading. Yeah.
Since it happened right here, I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you what happened. We were going to talk about it anyway. So, and this is a perfect example. I mentioned earlier that you might want to start separating out your concerns and not having a lot of CSS just jumbled right on into your HTML page. This is a perfect example, live, right here, of why you may not want to do that.
Yeah.
Let's look at that. Let's explain it. Yes, up here I specified that I wanted my color to be blue, right here. But remember the demo I did earlier to my H1?
Okay.
I've got a conflict here.
Right.
I've got a little bit of a conflict. And this can happen if you're going to be doing styling in several different places. HTML5 handles that by setting an order of precedence.
Right.
All right, here it is. Here's your order of precedence. First priority goes to any inline styling that you have.
Okay.
Right? This is an example of inline styling, and that's why that particular heading was red.
Okay.
Second priority is going to go to styling that is embedded up into your head section, but still on your page.
Okay, so in the page, yep.
Third priority will go to any external style sheet. We haven't talked about that yet, but we will. We're going to be getting to that. But it's important to understand that order of precedence that's going to happen when there is a styling conflict. And this is a perfect, nothing like actually making it happen during a live session here.
Absolutely. So it sounds to me like the closer that it is to whatever it is that we're trying to style, that's what's going to win. Because if it was on, that wins. If it's in the file, that's second place. And if it's external, that's third place. So it sounds like the closer that it is to that particular item, that's what's going to win. Okay, I like it.
That was really good that happened. Glad it did. I'm going to delete that.
Okay.
And now everything should go fine.
Now we should see blue.
And voila.
There we go. I like it.
So we see our font family. We see that it's, indent it a little bit from the left.
Okay.
And we're beginning to have a fairly nice looking travel log.
Yeah, it's getting there. I like it.
We got a ways to go, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
All right, let's think we've got
that.